Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Ashley Silva, and I am the prosecuting attorney that is going to be delivering the closing statement against the crime of arson. So first and foremost, arson is considered when one deliberately sets fire to property with willful and malicious intent. Historically, the laws have thankfully changed regarding arson. However, they did in earlier times result in only being limited to only setting fire to occupied buildings. So now it extends to any building, forest property, or just personal property in the sense, as well as the concept of a pathological arson starter, where one sets fires in abnormal conditions is what considered abnormal with an undetermined mental state. So in the common law of arson in the past is adapted also to include explosions because they can cause harmful intent to others as well as injury and pose a threat to their lives. And it also now extends to automotive vehicles, that it's considering RVs, motorcycles, and any other motor homes that can be included in that. The evolution of the law is a reaction from the advancement of criminal behavior within the last century. The concept of serial arsonist was constructed to classify within those who have set 3 or more fires, with a cooling off period in between each fire, so meaning decreased activity, of course. And then so serial arsonists such as John Leonard Orr are kind of the pinpoint and what we're looking at as far as like set the scene. Him as well as Thomas Sweat, I believe, are the top 2. So John Leonard Orr was kind of the front runner because he encapsulated arson very strategically. So he was a fire captain and arson investigator for the Glendale Fire Department in Southern California, near LA, and it was claimed that he set nearly 2,000 fires between the years of 1984 to 1991. He was also on the arson investigation team, meaning it was very easy for him to cover up the crimes, and he wasn't necessarily captured until the FBI kind of noticed the fires kept starting wherever he had conferences at. So then he was obviously contained and prosecuted. It was said that 90% of the wildfires at that time decreased because he was out of that. He was back, obviously convicted in jail. So he was convicted for murder as well as serial arson. So he was convicted of 4 murders of the people that died in the fires that he set, unfortunately. So arson, can be classified as a class 4 felony. It can be punishable up to 3 years in prison, as well as paying fines and individual restitution for all those involved. This obviously depends on the state, and the state of Arizona is considered a class 4. I believe it's a class 5 if it is considered damage more than $1,000 or so. This, of course, obviously depends on the damage and the intent to harm others. Obviously, in the case of John Leonard Orr, he was considered a mass murderer by the many people that he killed, as well as those he intended to harm. So the victims who die in the crime of arson, they can be classified as murder and potentially be subject to life in prison based on what the circumstances may be subjected to. Again, as well as the Oklahoma City bombing, obviously considered arson at its finest degree, as well as mass murder. Thank you for your time and consideration of the crime of arson within the justice system.